All right, hi everyone, Simon here again. Again, we're back in Unity and we're going to do more programming. I know every time I keep saying we're done with programming and then we do more programming. This is why computer games tend to miss release dates, is because with any sort of creative project, you always have the option to add more stuff or to keep polishing. And so then it's like an open-ended project, right? Anyway, I'm doing this mostly for learning, so I'm going to learn more about programming by readdressing this problem here. Remember this, the set current page? The way it works now, because we have to put two variables in, and not well, like two, you can and so you need the scene to set and the set to page. So you need to say which scene you want to set, and you want to set the current page of that scene to a number, right? And but that's two variables. Whereas with the buttons, if I can open my, let me just go to the one where I'm actually doing it. Player house. In page 5 here, the set current page, it only allows you to put in one argument into the button. So it only lets you take in one thing. So if we go back to our help, remember this UI button multiple parameters, and the short answer is that you can't have two parameters in the button, or but we can work around that by kind of putting two things into one argument and then separating it out later on. So what I've been looking up is string manipulation, and so here's what I'm thinking. What we would do, give you the code. So let me start working on this. So set current page, let's take in parameters, and then we call this string, and then here we comment this stuff out. So then it's one string. We put one string into the function, but we're gonna say, and then we're gonna separate it out. So what I want to do is say the scene colon the number, but and that's one string. So then we need to find the colon, and we say everything before the colon is one variable, and everything after the colon is another variable, right? Right. So then we go, so to find the colon, we look through the length, we look through each character in the string until we hit the colon. I don't know what's the best way to do this. So we can say, so S1, so this is how you identify what character is at a certain point in the string. So the string is hello, so and it starts at 0, so 0, 1, 1 is E. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, because somewhere else I was reading that you can find the first instance of a character. So let me just go back here and go JavaScript string methods, JavaScript string methods, JavaScript string reference. So if we can just find like the first instance of a colon without having to go through a loop, because I was thinking we could go for a loop and say, is the first character a colon? If yes, then do something. If no, then is the second character a colon? And then if that's not, then is the third character a colon? You can like set up a loop to go through each character, but that might be not the most useful way to do it. So search slice sprint. Some of the stuff don't work in Java. I mean, in Unity's version of JavaScript though. So that's kind of problematic. returns the character as a specified index, character at, which doesn't work in JavaScript, like it tells you here, character at is not supported. So, so some of the things that work in standard JavaScript doesn't work in Unity, which is odd. Character code at concat from character code index of returns the position of the first found occurrence of a specified value in the string, right? So we want index of, I think. How do you use index of? Let me just click on this. So variable string, hello, welcome to the universe, and then index of welcome is 13. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right, index of. So let's try this. What we can do is say variable seen to set string, and it always turns it to lowercase. I don't know why. Equals parameters. We're just gonna try and fit as many things as possible into as few lines as possible for some odd reason. Slice. I think slice is what I want. It doesn't actually show you slice here. Oh, substring. Substring works. So substring index and length. Substring index and length. And so you go substring parameters dot sub. Is it capitals or not capitals? Capitals. Sub. Okay, capital and not capital. Apparently that works. Parameter substring 0. Oh, it is there. It does work. Start index int. Substring 0, and then the length would be index of would be parameters dot no don't autocomplete. Parameters dot, maybe I shouldn't call it parameters. Parameters dot what was it called again? Index of. Oh, it does work. Index. I think it does work. It's capital capital I there. Index of that -1, because oh no, wait, not that. Index of that -1, because the index of the colon, actually index of 0, 1, 2. So if so imagine if it's player H and then colon. So it's 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, you don't need the -1 because it starts at 0. It starts at 0, so you don't need the -1 because if it's the seventh, if the colon's the seventh character, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which it would be, then 7 is also the length of the word that we want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, so that's also what we want. And then variable set to page int equals to int. Oh wait, I think I need to. How do you use? I think we need to. How do you use toInt? I forgot how you use toInt. I think I had it. out here. Well, int pass, we can do int pass. I think it's, yeah, int pass. Let me go equals int pass, and then when you put a string in, the string will be parameters substring. Now this will be the index will be the index of the colon plus 1. So it'll be this plus 1. Let me just bracket there. Plus 1. Oops. And then it'll be the length minus index of. So imagine to the 7th is a colon, 8th is a number. So length will be 9. 9 plus 7 plus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Colon is 8. Number is 9. So it'll be the length minus the index of the colon minus 1. Because again, we start at 0, so you kind of have to shift the numbers over by 1. I think that's it. So the length of the string is this one, string.length. So it's, do I need brackets or just length? I don't even know. So it's parameters dot length. No completions found. This terrifies me every time it does that. I think that's correct. It's parameters dot length minus so it's this stuff. Actually, I didn't put a bracket after this. That's okay. That's better. Minus that minus 1, and we'll put those in the bracket, and then semicolon. I think that works. It seems kind of overly complicated, but I think it works. Build. It doesn't work. Crap. What is the one? What is this? Expecting close. Okay, the brackets. I got the brackets wrong. What brackets did I get wrong? Oh, there's this. Okay, this one closes that one. We need one more bracket. We need one more bracket. Build. Length is not a member of string. Oh, L-E-N-G-T-H. L-E-N-G-T-H. Spelling mistake. Build. I think that works. Now we test. Now we go set current page, and we say player house colon 10, and it should do what it did before, which is if you leave on page 5, when you come back, you'll start at page 10. So you should set the current page of player house, which is this one, to 10. Set to page, scene to set. So scene to set is player house. Set to page. So yeah. All right. Let's see if this works. So instead of having to put 2 parameters into here, we kind of make it 1 parameter, but then in the script we separate that out into 2 parts, which is the first part, the string, which describes which scene to set, and then the second part, which is the number, which says what page to set the current page to. So, you just kind of put in one string and then separate it out later on. That's how we're doing it. Let's see if this works. The reason why I spent time doing that is because it makes things easier later on. Let me just try it out, and then we'll come back and I'll explain to you. So start at page 2, leave, go back, start at page 2, go to page 5, leave, come back, and it starts at page 10. It works. It works! It works! Yes! Alright, good, done. We are done. Let me just for double checking, if we say, if we leave here and we go diner, starts at page 30. So we go build and run. So now if we leave on page 5 of the player house and then go to the diner will start at page 30, right? Right. Yeah, and the reason we do this is because it makes it a lot simpler later on. Title screen, alright, and then you skip dialog, April. Alright, skip dialog. If you go to diner now, it starts at 11. Leave, go to my house, page 5, leave, go to diner, starts at 30. Alright, it works exactly as we wanted to. Great. Amazing. I'm so good at this. Alright. Player house 10, which is what it's meant to be, alright, and then we save. So the reason we spent time doing that, which it didn't turn out to be that complicated later on, although I did actually look all this stuff up before we started, right? I kind of opened all these pages and we figured it out before we started. The reason we did this was because now, before, when we used this, we had to define, so we had to make a copy of the script. We have to make an instance of the script every time we want to we want to set a different page in a different scene. So let's say if one conversation sets 3 different things elsewhere, I'll need to attach the script here, put in 2 variables, and then the button run that instance. And to get another one, I need to have another instance, put in different variables, have a different button activate that one. And for a third one, I have to copy the instance again, have another set of variables, and have the third button do that. So you have to kind of make 3 instances of the script, and each button activates a different instance. Whereas now, because the parameters are put in here, which is to say the parameters are put in here, I only need 1 instance of the script. The button activates that script along with these parameters, and then a second button will activate the same script but with different parameters, and a third button will activate the same script with different parameters. Basically, we don't need a different instance of the script. We don't need to attach another version here, whereas before we'd have to keep kind of putting more and more copies, like we're going to have to do that to get a second set of variables, and then to do that again to get a third set of variables. Did I just put that in the wrong place? I don't know what I just did. Let me just undo. Can I just undo? Okay, let me just undo all that. So before we had to kind of keep putting in more and more copies of that script to get different locations and different pages to set. Whereas now we don't. We just have 1 instance of that script, and then we pass in the variables through the button, which is more efficient. More efficient. It's gonna be less confusing later on, because imagine if every conversation might have 2 or 3 different kind of checkpoints you want to set, and so then you need kind of 2 or 3 things with each conversation, and you're going to go back and forth between different scripts and all that. Whereas this just makes things easier to have, one thing we type in here, and you just kind of have to change this one point, and we don't have to keep going back and forth. So yeah, so again, going back to the fact that this is a creative project means that this sort of thing you can tinker around for forever, because we didn't actually add functionality. We didn't actually add any functionality. I think we're doing the exact same thing. We're achieving the same behavior in a more efficient way, but the end user would not notice that because the player don't see the code. And so when you're playing, you're just clicking the buttons, and the 2 versions, the buttons do the same thing. So it doesn't actually make the game any better. Like we spent time doing things that didn't make the game any better. And you can do this when you're programming. You can do this a lot when you're programming. And you can spend hours and hours and hours doing things that is technically better, but it doesn't actually improve the software for the end user. So that's something to think about, when you're kind of making programs or making games or whatever it is you're doing. So this is no longer a problem. Used in dialog scenes to change the current page variables attached to the relevant button and specify changes in the Unity inspector. Use the following format to pass parameters from the Unity inspector, and it's going to be scene to set colon set to page. For example, player house 10. So just to kind of make sure that I don't forget this, I'm just going to make a note for myself here, because the colon is important, and this is important, like no spaces colon, because if you put a space in here, then the names don't match. If you put like a space in here or whatever, then it doesn't kind of really match. Actually, you can put a space here, I think, because it'll just convert the empty space into a number, which it's not part of the number. But if you put a space in here, it's not going to work. If you use a comma instead of a colon, it's not going to work. So it has to be that. So does that make sense? Does that make sense? So we say the scene to set is a string that is a substring of parameters starting at 0, which is the first character, and ending or the length with ending just before the colon is what that eventually works out to. So you take that and you put that to scene to set, and then set to page is the integer of the substring of parameters starting at the character after the colon and ending at the length of the string minus the length of the string at the colon, which ends up being what's left over after the colon, which is the number. So and then you turn that into an int, and you put that to set the page, and then the rest of the code works exactly the same way. The rest of the code just takes that string and then puts that integer into these variables depending on what that is. So yeah, just like that. I mean, it's a big long thing, but if you look at it closely, then you can figure out what it is supposed to do. I don't think I need to put notes there, so alright, good, done. we did all that to put in 2 lines of code. And that's great because it's efficient. It's efficient code. All right, I'm going to stop recording there. And all right, good. Another thing done.